Nothing in this life is perfect, but somehow, why do we expect ourselves to be? My name is Yandra Conrad, and I am a struggling perfectionist. As an example of this, it took me such a long time to sit down, film, and post this video because I had to figure everything out. So as a struggling perfectionist, one of the things that I really struggle with is my analysis paralysis loop. If you don't know what that means, I'm not even sure if it's an actual word, but for me, analysis paralysis is just basically overloading myself with so much information that I need to learn before actually doing the thing that I actually overwhelm myself. And because I feel so overwhelmed, I end up not even doing the thing that I was intending to do. So it can get really frustrating. And honestly, I was super tempted to just figure it out and post about this later, or not even post about it at all. But I realized that this is an opportunity to reach someone that might be feeling the same things and need help really processing that. So I decided to just film this today, and I really hope this video resonates with you. If it does, then hit that like button and consider subscribing, because I just want to be able to share this message to people who are wanting encouragement. I know in the realm of business, it's really hard to find that support. You know, it's very easy to talk about the great things that's happening in the business, but all of the emotions, all of the things that are running through your thoughts, it's so hard for some reason. And so I want to be able to open this space to have real raw conversations like this. So if that resonates with you, consider subscribing. So our goal today is to really break down why perfectionism exists in the first place. I'm also going to be sharing some personal stories about how it's manifested in my life. And girl, my goal is to help you today. So I am also going to be sharing some tips on how I navigate thoughts of perfectionism and how to actually start that process of healing. So I got you, girly. So firstly, I want to say that your feelings are valid. It's so easy to blame yourself, to criticize yourself, to overthink and think that you're the problem. And babe, I just want to say you're not, okay? There's nothing wrong with you. And if you didn't see my first video, I actually talk about how your brain just does its thing. There is a purpose for it, self-sabotaging. So if you want to give that a watch, then I'll link it here below. Just know that we all have our experiences in the past. And although we can't change our past, we now have the opportunity to take good things in our past that we want to keep and leave the things that don't serve us anymore behind. And so I really hope that after this video, you're going to start reflecting on the things that you want to keep for yourself. Who is that person that you're wanting to be? And does this contribute to that person that I want to become? Okay, so let's actually talk about the early signs of perfectionism and how it's manifested in my life. And oh my gosh, everyone's gonna see this now. I do believe in honesty and authenticity, so let me just share it. I mean, I don't know if you could tell, but I am Asian, and I grew up in a very Asian household. And Asian culture is never really an emotional culture. In fact, it's actually very hard for parents to compliment their kids. And I'm not sure why that is, but that is the case in our household as well. And so I've always been a straight A student because the only time that I would get complimented was because of my grades. Oh my gosh, you're so smart. Oh my gosh, you got straight A's, you know? And of course that would fuel my pride. I would be super proud of myself for working hard and getting straight A's, you know, making my parents proud. But I realize now looking back that I was praised so much for the results rather than the process. That is actually one of the main contributing factors of why I am a perfectionist now. In fact, if you were praised so much for the result that you achieved rather than the hard work that you've put in, then you really overemphasize on the result. So this is what fueled my all or nothing mentality. What that means is that it's either I'm the best or I'm a failure. There's nothing in between. And of course, you know, there's nothing in this world that is black and white, it's all gray. But I just focused more on the result than the process. So it didn't matter how much work I put in, it just mattered I had A's. And this thinking definitely was so destructive that it was one of those big things that brought me down when I went to college. So again, grew up in a very Asian household, and in elementary and high school, it was fairly easy. You know, I got straight A's, no problem. But in college, everything changed so drastically. I moved out of the house. I got my first apartment, I went to school, and now I also have to join clubs, you know, and you're at that weird, awkward phase being a college student, you know, dreams, aspirations, now you have to make friends, and you're in puberty. Basically, everything was just so overwhelming. And so I was taking classes at that time, and I got my first B. And I know it's laughable right now, but looking back, now I understand why that was such a big hit to my pride and ego, because when I was praised for the results, which is getting A's all throughout high school and elementary, I deemed it as something socially acceptable. Like I had to be perfect. I had to get straight A's to be accepted by my peers, by my family. That is a huge distortion that's probably also affecting your business and your success. With that all or nothing mentality, when I had my first B, I'm like, you know what? What's the point of trying? So that B turned to a C, then turned to a D, and then I eventually just failed the class. I started linking my performance to my self esteem and my achievements to my self worth. Thoughts, beliefs, anything that really happens in your mind, it compounds every time. So for me, my perfectionism and this all or nothing mentality, once I kept marinating, it started to create cognitive distortions in my brain. And cognitive distortions is basically thoughts, beliefs that are hindering you back. For me, the first one that I've seen is a fear of failure. I started tying my achievements to my self worth, and anything less than perfect was basically a failure. This fear of failure was so paralyzing that I'd rather not even start something because I was afraid of failing. That fear of failure is probably hindering you from starting that passion project, that business that you've been wanting to start, that side thing that you want to do. This fear of failure is a reason why you can't start. And the best way to approach this that has worked for me is to treat failures more as a learning opportunity. In my own business, I've also been creating this painful experience for myself by really taking failures and challenges within the company as a indication of my self-worth. And one of my friends and also like my partner has actually pointed that out to me, that why do you always take it so personal? And honestly, that is a great question. Why is that whenever I feel like I'm failing or making a mistake, I feel like that's a indication of my own self-worth? And like I said, it's because you tie your achievements, you tie the results of something to your self-worth, and this is definitely going to be debilitating as time comes. And that's exactly how I felt. Let me share you an experience that I had with my own agency. One of my clients last year, basically, I feel like it was a lack of understanding. He didn't really fully understand what we do as a business. And so he came to us and we had a meeting. He basically said, hey, I don't know if I'm getting business from you guys. Like I haven't gotten anything. And basically he was just very, very emotional during this call and frustrated. I felt really small for some reason. And I felt like, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? And I started to shut down. And after that call, I actually caught myself. I said, oh my gosh, why do I feel like I am the problem? I know my work ethic. I know how hard we work as a team, as a business, but then I let someone dictate my self-worth just from a phone call. Immediately when I realized that, I actually went to the bathroom, faced myself in the mirror, and actually apologized to myself, because that is ridiculous. From that point on, I told myself I will never, ever, ever let someone determine my self-worth like that anymore. And so I want you to do this visualization exercise that has really, really helped me. Pretend that you are this cute little white ball. You put that white ball inside this metal box, and in this metal box you keep really deep within your heart that no one can touch and no one can influence. This is your self-worth. So when failures, challenges, obstacles come your way, this white ball is safely tucked within you. Failures and mistakes are a way to improve the process. It's not an indication of your self-worth. And the sooner that you realize that, the sooner that you'll feel free. One thing I realized in business, it's all about consistency. How do you make it easy for yourself to keep going? If you always think that you're failing, or if you think every mistake is an indication of your self-worth, then you're never going to keep going. And that was the biggest problem that I have to solve. And honestly, sometimes I still struggle with that as well. In fact, I actually watched a YouTube video and there was one person that mentioned not making a decision is still making a decision, and if you really recognize how finite we are, basically everyone has an expiration date. And okay, I shouldn't be laughing at that. It's a very dark joke, but we all have expiration dates. And the truth is, if tomorrow is going to be your last day, will you end up regretting not doing that thing that you've been thinking about? Pursue your passion, start that project. And if you really disassociate yourself from those failures and mistakes and don't take it as personally, then you're going to succeed in whatever that thing you're going to do. Another distortion that has arisen from my own perfectionism is an overemphasis of the outcome rather than the process. And let me just explain that. When I was making my vision board and my goals, I realized I was still practicing this perfectionist mentality. I put a number, like I want to earn $1 million, for example. That is not a great goal because that doesn't speak to how you're going to get that money, whether the money is going to be with something that inspires yourself. I just put a number on there, so it's not great. And I realized that because I burnt out so fast with my own agency, not really recognizing what fulfills my soul, what is the avenue of this money that I actually want to have, what does that process look like. I just put $1 million. But yeah, I mean, everyone wants $1 million, but it's more important to be consistent and aligned with what you truly want to do. In fact, my word for 2025 is alignment. So I want to keep this video short, but in reminder, you have to take some time to really reflect and recognize why your perfectionism exists. Figure out how you're going to reframe mistakes and failures. Again, it's part of the process. It has no indication of your self-worth. And understand how you can have self-worth outside of your achievements. I believe these are the three biggest things that has helped me in my journey of, processing perfectionism and really weeding that out. But let me actually read some affirmations to you that you can also repeat on a daily basis. So let me just read off my phone. The first one is, mistakes and failure has nothing to do with my worth, but simply an indication. This is a big one. The second one is, done is better than perfect. Oh my gosh. Another one that I also repeat to myself is progress over perfection. Third one is, my self-worth isn't tied to my performance or achievements. This is really, really important because, like I said, your self-worth, you are worthy of anything, girl. Like, you don't have to prove anything to anyone and prove anything to yourself. You deserve love. You deserve success. You deserve happiness as is. Okay, the last one is, I trust that I can handle mistakes and learn from them. I was compelled to create this video today, and I really hope that resonated with you. These are the types of videos that I will be creating more and more on this channel. If you learned something from today, drop a like or a comment. I will take some time to read that. And if you want to watch anything else on this video, then comment that below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!